Hi everyone and welcome back. Mindy with Mindy Eggen Design, and today I am featuring 10 cards, one kit using the Love from Lizi October 2018 kit. So I did speed this video up quite a bit, but I am showing you a lot of the process and how I completed the card. Typically, if you follow my channel, you know I love to get inky, I love to stamp, I love to just create a big old colorful mess. This kit, I took it way down to basics, which I don't do very often. So this was actually really fun for me. What I did is I took everything out of the pack and I made myself some piles. I kept all of my other supplies kind of off on the side. I wanted to keep this real basic. So I have all my papers off on the side, the embellishments. What I focused on was the pull aparts that you can view in my unboxing video, but it is just pattern paper with different squares that you can cut apart or use the elements that are in them. So I used a lot of those in the pattern paper, and then I took the ephemera pack of embellishments, and that's what I mainly used for a lot of these cards. These images I'm applying now with the liquid glue is from the ephemera pack. So that is what I focused on, and I'm really happy with how all of these cards turned out. So this is the first card I did. This is card number 1. And like I said, I kept it real simple. I just found some basic card styles and stuck with that. And I let the pattern paper and the sentiment do the talking for my card. What I really like about these, once I finished them and I just laid them all out on the table and took a good look at them, was that these are just really great cards to have on hand when you just want to send a just because or a hello, or even a thank you, whatever it may be. There was no real theme to it other than it being fall based. But even with it saying fall on there, you could still send them really, anytime throughout the next couple months. So I did really enjoy doing this. All in all, it probably took me a couple hours. Like I said, I kind of did a little Googling, found some card sketches and some simple designs that I wanted to create. For this card here, I took some of that pattern paper and cut it to 4 by 5 1/4 and then cut it diagonally. So I'm actually getting 2 cards out of that one cut that I had made. For these that I'm attaching right now, this was actually off of the pull aparts, and I cut it into really thin stripped labels, and that's what I used for my sentiment. The color palette was gorgeous to work with. This one also is using some of that specialty cardstock, which is kind of hard to see on camera, but it's like a shimmery chocolate cardstock. And this is the second one out of that kind of double card that I was creating. So I just flipped sides sides of the card to attach these two. And you can see it's double-sided, so you could use either side if it worked out with how you cut. I did change up a little bit some of the ideas I had. I was going to use that tag with the fox on it because I thought the fox was really cute, but I decided to dig out those dies that are also in the kit. There's 2 leaves, and they leave the embossed veins of the leaf on there, and they're gorgeous, and I cut them from some of the gold shimmer specialty cardstock that's in there. So I just layered them down, and a lot of what I'm doing here, all I really pulled in as extra was some foam tape, and that's mainly what I did with everything. Was I added foam tape to it. That was enough for me. So you can see I just kind of grouped these flowers together for this card. 2 of them I applied directly to the card. 1 of them I'm adding with foam tape. And then for this label, which is from the ephemera pack, I added foam tape to the one side and liquid glue to the other so that it was even with my leaf that I had popped up. And we are already moving on. That was card number 3. What I also did, another kind of process through it all, was that I cut everything apart and I laid it down to have an idea what I wanted to do. And then once I had the 10 cards laid out, and like I said, nothing was attached, it was all just loosely laid down, then I brought them back in and added things to it, whether it was more embellishments or whether it was more of these elements that I could add to them. For this one, I used a pull apart and I had die cut that from a double stitch circle die. So I think that was probably one of the only outside dies that I brought in for this. I was just trying to keep everything really simple, sticking to the kit as much as I could, and then just adding in the elements. One other thing I brought in was white cardstock. I am such a fan of white cardstock. It just really makes everything pop. So that was about another extra I had brought in was the white cardstock. And then you can see here, I'm just adding some foam tape to my die cut circle to pop that up. This, I think, was just one of my favorite cards. I don't know if it was the pumpkin or the stripes with the polka dots, but this was one of my favorites out of all of them. And then bringing in another one of those die cut leaves I had done just to add a little bit more sparkle and interest to it. And a little bit of the foam tape. So when you get your kits, that was card number 4. When you get your kits, like I said, to me it was just kind of a nice way to leave everything off on the side. I don't do card kits very often. I very rarely create more than one in a video. So to do 10 of them was, I honestly thought I was going to struggle with it just because I don't do that very often. But like I said, all in all, this maybe took me a couple hours. I just stuck to what was in the kit. And everything coordinated beautifully. They had gorgeous colors and the cardstocks to go with it. There's also the ribbon in there. I think I only used one of the ribbon, one type of ribbon out of that pack just because that's not something I typically do. That was card number 5. So, but everything coordinates great together. So there's lots more you could do with it. You can see I have the stamp set up there. I had thought about adding that to some of my cards, and I didn't want to dig out my inks. I didn't want to dig out the blocks. I just wanted to create, and they went together so nice. So this one, I was really happy just adding that one piece in the middle with the plaid background. And then I have these foil gold strips that are in the kit, and I added those to the border. I actually did this a few times where I added it just to the edge of my pattern paper. And that added a lot of shine to them. And just a little bit more of the foam tape. You could also use foam squares. You could just apply it directly to the card as well. So I am going to have the supplies, the kit listed down below in the video description of my YouTube channel and also on my blog. I'll have all of these pictures there as well. So if you want to save any of these card ideas, you're more than welcome to. I will also link in the video the unboxing. So if you want to take a closer look at everything that was included, I did not use every single thing that was included. I used what I was drawn to first, which was the pattern paper and then the ephemera pack. And so this one, I'm just pulling out some of that striped paper and the gold cardstock that was included in the kit. And you'll see I did change direction on this one a little bit. I was going to use kind of these flowers, this flower element, which would have looked really nice. It was a really pretty element. But I really wanted to use those leaves that came in the kit that are bark. So it's made out of real bark. And they're surprisingly soft and very lightweight, and I really wanted to use one of those because I thought they were really cool, and it's not something I do typically very often. So I did change up this card style a little bit as I went. So another thing I did just to add a little sparkle to it is I'm taking some shimmer spray, and I'm going to spray my leaf. I was going to try and give it some sparkle. I set that off on the side to dry for a little while and came back to it. Once it was dry, there is a little bit of sparkle there. Then I'm just adding some glue dots to the back to stick that down to my card. And this is something I probably wouldn't mail just because it is bulky, unless you want to send in a padded envelope, but that's a lot more postage than you probably want to pay. So this is something I would probably give to a teacher or a friend to hand deliver. That's card number 7. On to card number 8. This one I decided to make kind of a window card. So I'm using that double stitched circle die again to cut a window out of this pattern paper. And I'm also using the, if it's like a yellow or like a buttercream cardstock for the base piece of this. Now these are all pretty much just card fronts I'm showing you that I'm creating. These do all get attached to an A2 size card base. So I do attach everything to an actual card, but some of them, most of them, like I said, I'm just kind of going through and creating all of the card fronts. Once all of my cards were done, and this part I unfortunately didn't video, but once I kind of had everything done, I set it all off on the side and took a good look at it. I came back in and I added some of the jewels that came in them. They already have adhesive on the back of the jewels. So I did add that to some of my flower centers and around some of my sentiments. You also get some Nuvo drops, and I think it's an orange. I can't remember the exact color listed, but it's an orange. And I did add that to some of them. So I did come back in and add a few little bit of embellishments to them. And these mushrooms were way too cute to pass up. I had to use them. In my unboxing video, there was a piece of paper with a fox on it, and it was so adorable. I wanted to use that fox so bad. Problem was, I put it off on the side when I opened everything up here to work on cards, and I couldn't find it. Of course, you may guess, I found it at the end when I was cleaning up my mess. Throughout this video here, I did kind of find it when I was cleaning up things, but by then I already had all of my cards designed and I didn't want to change anything up, so that's just going to be saved for later for a different card. Now this card, I did attach some of that ribbon, and I just had added some double-sided tape to hold that down and tape that on the back, and then adding in that sentiment. So that's card number 8. Now these are the pull aparts that I was talking about. They're 3x4 squares, and I decided I was just going to use this image. They're all beautiful images, and you could really make a lot of cards just doing this. This one is kept pretty simple, pretty basic. I'm just layering it on top of cardstock, and I played around a little bit with some different colors on how I wanted to layer it. I really thought this coffee mug or cappuccino mug was pretty cool. And you're also getting some of that chocolate, and it's like a cranberry burgundy-ish type of cardstock. And I layered it with white. Like I said, I love my pop of white. I think it just really makes things stand out. So I did bring that in from my own stash. And there was a heart in that Elements pack that matched almost perfectly to the heart on this mug. So I did add that with some foam squares. And at the end, I didn't show you, but I did add some Nuvo shimmer to that heart too. You can kind of see a little bit of a sparkle there. All right, last card here, and this is also one of my favorites. I love this grouping of flowers, these colors, this one together really well. So I hope you enjoyed watching my process creating these 10 cards. I did want to keep this short. Like I said, I did speed everything up a little bit, but I hope you're able to get some ideas. You can head to my blog for more pictures, and you can click on the link down below or on my blog to pick up your kit and create all of these amazing cards and more. So thank you so much for stopping by with me today. If you did like this video, please give it a big thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already done so. And thank you so much, Love from Lizi, for providing this kit for me to play with. It was so much fun.